Just Octane barely exists in this race. For like a
Hello,
little
YouTube, and welcome to the United States Grand Prix circuit here in Austin, Texas. Welcome to Circuit of the Americas. We're ready to get to business here. Round
I
14 of
remember
21.
Oh, it's a rain race.
I remember
Oh
saying
boy.
I didn't even like
Marco atop the
for
table with 48 points. Ben, if he's going to get into this championship, needs a couple of Marco DNFs. And here we go, we have our first driver making it out onto the circuit. The track is open for business here in qualifying. And first driver to make their way out on an outlap, it'll be none other than Invader. Working right now on 2 wins on the season, looking for a third. Can it be here in Austin? It's the home Grand Prix for many of these drivers. Even though technically most of them may be closer to the Montreal circuit.
God damn it.
At least 3 of them are closer to Montreal than they are Austin.
Has anybody been to the track?
Dakota?
Yeah. Yeah, I went last year.
Driven by it.
I went
Never
to the
been.
IndyCar race.
I drove by it when they were practicing. I was so mad.
Yep. The place is
Emerson's like, I
huge.
need to go.
I was.
I had to drive by.
I
had
was
to-
slated to be there. Many things. Ben and Markle all on outlaps now. As we start the final third of this EWRL F1 season. Invader takes the green flag here in qualifying. He's going to start the first timed lap of the session, provided he doesn't abort it. Last week, Ben took the win at the Red Bull Ring, tying Markle and Ben for most wins on the season. Looks like many things is off the pace and into the pit lane.
I crashed.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you remember asking? Okay.
I treated you as pastor right there. I crash. Oh, okay. Who won the poll last week? Care to fill me in?
I don't remember.
That's tight.
I'm pretty sure Ben did.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, Ben did.
Well, said driver is going for back-to-back pulls. Invader sets the first timed lap of the session. It is a 1:33.145, but Ben will outdo that, a 1:33.017. Here comes Markle into the final corner. Markle goes top of the charts at 1:32.467. My goodness. There's a caution in sector 1. Oh, that'd be Markle off the pace. Many things down on outlaps. Volcanic Foursquare on timed laps. Here comes Foursquare into turn 12. And Foursquare goes 4 for 4 quickest, a 133.474. The top four within 1 second of each other. Here comes Many Things. I'm sorry, not Many Things. Volcanic through the final sector. There's a caution in sector 3. Dan off the pace. Or no, he's just letting Volcanic by. Would be understanding that move wide through turn 19 goes Volcanic out into turn 20. Making his second start here in the EWRL F1 series. He goes a 134.0. And Dan, there's a caution in sector 1. That would be, I believe, Many Things off the pace. Dan starts a timed lap here, sporting a nice.
At least there's no walls here.
A nice livery this weekend. Caution in sector 1 driver, that would be Volcanic, I believe, letting Dan through. Invader on an outlap. He's going to go ahead and try it again as we continue to watch Dan do work here at Coda.
Great DQs online.
I mean,
Yeah, racing.
invited him to the party. Wants to show up, he'll show up. And Dan goes 6th of 6 quickest at 134.173. Here comes Many Things through the final corner. To the start finish line, Many Things goes 7th of 7 quickest, a 135.500. We got Ben and Invader. Here they come. They're not settling for being 6/10 off the pace. Let's see what these guys can do. A very glossy livery for Ben this weekend. Almost couldn't tell where the 24 was on his vehicle. And here comes Invader through the final sector. Invader getting ready to roll here. Let's go on board with Invader for a potential pole setting lap. Up the hill through turn 1, clips the apex nicely. There's a caution in sector 1.
That's me. Just waiting for them.
Foursquare on an out lap. Ben, Invader working timed laps here.
Yeah, so Ben's gonna go fast.
Many Things look like he's attempting to go once more around here, or coming to the maybe set a last lap. Let's see what he can do here as he comes through turn 20. Many Things looking for the start finish line. There's a caution in sector 3. He improves on his time, but does not improve in position. And looks like Dan did another lap. He did not improve on time or position.
Yep, so Ben's gonna take.
Here comes Invader. Do the final couple corners. Ben following suit. We'll see what happens here. Invader through turn 20 to the start finish line. Oh, ever so close, a 132.46. Here comes Ben. He'll go top of the charts, and look at the gap between the top 3.
God damn, Ben.
A 132.459 for the provisional pole right now, Ben. Markle holds a 32.467 and Invader a 32.486. What a battle atop the table. Can Foursquare join in? Oh, and Ben goes shooting through the grass trying to avoid Volcanic, who was trying to avoid other cars. Looks like Dan actually took a lap in between his laps to try to go for it again, so that's what he's doing. Many things, I believe he's out of fuel. There's a caution sector 2. Ben, I believe, is off the pace. Here comes Markle on an out lap. Foursquare down the back stretch, trying to see what he can do. Dan to the start finish line. He goes 4th quickest, a 153.418, almost a second off the pace still. See what Foursquare can do. Where will he end up on the spectrum? Right now sat 5th of 7 quick. Volcanic on an out lap. Can he improve from a 6th place starting position? Foursquare through the final corner. He'll go 4th quickest, a 133.349. Looks like he'll be finding Dan throughout the race today.
How'd you miss the pit lane?
I'm gonna miss the pit lane.
And then Invader did?
I can't hear him. Well. Looks like Foursquare wasn't content with 1 lap. He'll be trying again. Dan out of fuel on the backstretch. Volcanic trying again.
No, I'm bringing it in. Hopefully, maybe get another one in, but I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That is a wicked margin atop the table. That is wicked. Let's see. Mark on a potential pole setting lap. Markle sporting a nice green and red livery this weekend. Where will it be starting? We'll find out in about 3.5 minutes time, but Markle's attempt here, he'll go a 132.202, top of the table for Markle. Now does Invader, do they have a response to that lap time?
Markle, it's a little bit late to look like a Christmas present.
You're welcome. I still have my Malico. I don't know if you know, but my mom said we're having our family Christmas on January 18th. Everybody was busy in December. I don't live in Detroit.
And now we have a special report on Detroit from our pit reporter Malenko. Malenko, what do you got down there?
It's hell.
I heard something about a late Christmas down there.
Since I got here, there's already 7 shootings, and after they went to trial, they all said it's an early present.
I heard something about a late Christmas there. You got anything on that? Apparently, these citizens of Detroit celebrate Christmas halfway through January.
With the bullets.
Thank you for the very insightful report. Back to qualifying. Ben, Invader, Foursquare, Dan, many things all on outlaps here. Volcanic trying again as well. Let's see what pops here. 5 drivers on outlaps. Will Markle get another crack at it? No, he's going back into the garage stall. He will not have another attempt. He will have to sit in his garage and watch his fellow competitors see if they can be faster than Markle. It'll be quite the sight. So here goes Ben to start another timed lap. And we'll have it from Foursquare. Then Invader, then Dan. Volcanic's out of fuel. Many things also on the timed lap. Marco's gonna try to...
No, we're not going to.
I don't know if you cut every corner.
Not gonna happen. We're not getting good place penalties. I think in this game it would do that.
Oh, Ben aborted his lap time.
It's easy to Oh, did you fuck it up?
There's not much damage. Oh, you chipped the left side, but not really much damage. At that point, it's probably not a pole contending car, but I mean it. Many things will improve upon his time. A 134.654. Volcanic did get into the 133s. Many things catches the small Volcanic. Volcanic absolutely destroys Foursquare's attempt at the pole. Oh, he'll get a 5-place grid penalty for that. What a terrible spot for a car to be out of fuel in the middle of the racing line.
Foursquare, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm in the trap.
Oh my god. I didn't know they were there.
What happened last week?
We are getting reports that there are F's in the chat.
Same thing happened.
And Invader will not improve upon his time.
Last week Volcanic ran out of fuel and
Seems
messed
like I
up
just ruined someone's lap every single
because
week.
Avenge was
Hey.
actually probably on like a 2nd place qualifying lap and got fucked.
Hey, Volcanic, next time maybe you should look at how much fuel you got and figure out how many laps you're able to do.
Or just be on the grass when they
Well, it did say 1.20.
Dan
so-
does get up to the 4th position there. Foursquare falls back to 5th. Volcanic qualified 6th. He'll be starting from the moon. And many things out of fuel. We'll start 7th. So Marco didn't need to respond. He also partially got help from Volcanic to kind of secure that pole.
No, it wasn't that quick. Yeah, I was quicker, but it wasn't. I wasn't a second quicker. Oh, what was yours? I didn't know. What was yours? Did they mess up yours too?
Foursquare, I'm so sorry about that. I thought you were gonna try and go down the inside, so I moved out of the way.
That'll do it here in qualifying. Markle will take over the pole position this week. Last week it was Ben. Ben will start 2nd. Row 2 will be comprised of Invader, Dan. Row 3, Foursquare, and Volcanic, the best of friends. Will not start in the same row because many things will move up to the 6th position after Volcanic's extracurriculars there in the middle of the racing track.
So angry at myself.
Extracurriculars, eh?
Like I was 8/10 back.
So I hope we're all ready for a little bit of a soggy Austin day.
Let's get this thing underway.
I don't know, he's got snow there this weekend, right?
I'm not really sure how often it rains in Austin, but it rains pretty often here in Houston, 2 hours east.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, I can't speak for Austin. I'm there one day out of every year, maybe. So, we got a 28 lapper on our hands here at Circuit of the Americas. But before that, we got the drivers taking part on their formation laps. We'll be starting this race with intermediate tires. It's been a long time since we've had a Grand Prix start on a wet surface. If I'm not mistaken, we'd have to go all the way back to season 2.
Oh, this turn's gonna be ass.
So a nice soggy race day here in Austin, Texas for the United States Grand Prix. Round 14 of 21 about to get underway. Let's go through our starting lineup. Row 1 will be our drivers atop the championship table. Markle with a 48-point lead over who he starts beside. Ben, hoping for Markle to maybe take a nice DNF to this weekend, and he would have to get a win to capitalize most on that. Row 2 we'll have Invader looking for his 3rd Grand Prix victory of the season, and Dan, our 2-time series champ, looking for his 1st still, as we're 14 weeks in and somebody's crashed on the formation lap. That would be many things. Finding the left side barrier down the backstretch.
Did many things just spin on a straightaway?
Our starting lineup, row 3, we will have one driver in row 3. It'll be Foursquare, the other thing starting next to him. Yeah, many things. We're wondering many things about many things starting in 6th. And we'll have Volcanic bringing up the rear after qualifying 6th. He'll start 7th after a grid penalty and qualifying for colliding with Foursquare there towards the end of the session. But here we go.
In my defense, I was weaving on the straight.
I never thought I would see someone spin on a straightaway again. Yeah, you're gonna be sitting on the grid. They're about to get refrozen.
Well, here we go. The drivers, they've gridded up, and we're getting ready to go here. It's time to bring the action. We've got 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go. Markle gets off to a great start. He'll try to clear Ben as they head to turn 1, and how about that rocketing start for many things up the left side of the track into the 3rd position now. Trying to go and hang on to it. He'll shove Foursquare out wide. No, that's Invader. He'll shove out wide. Dan into the 3rd position. Ben takes over the race lead from Markle. And Markle goes off! And he's crashed big time. That's almost what Ben needed. And another car spun back there as well. Dan's gone around. I don't think they were in the same incident. I just think it was in the same part of the on the circuit for these 2 drivers. Wow, just how quickly things can escalate here in Austin. Well, not even halfway done through the 1st lap, Ben now takes a 2.7 second lead over Invader, who's trying to hold on to the third position for Manythings. Here he comes, Manythings up the inside. The aggressive move will take second for a brief moment, but Invader will take it right back. Manythings still trying to figure out what that brake pedal does. It's been about 5 weeks now, and he still is trying to figure out how to stop the car. So Manythings right now sat on the podium, but under attack now from Foursquare. And Ben sets the fastest lap, a 1:52.467 on the opening lap of the United States Grand Prix. Up the left side looks Foursquare. He's going to be smart. He's going to just pressure Manythings. He's not really going to shove his nose where it doesn't belong. Markle makes his first stop of the day. He's going to replace that front wing. Dan ended up not pitting there. Again, I'm not sure if they were involved in the same incident. I'm led to believe that they weren't. They were just crashing on the same part of the circuit. There's a caution in Sector 2, though. And there goes Invader! He now gives up the second position to Manythings. Dan goes by for fifth. Manythings, Foursquare, they're battling it out for the second position. Side by side down the backstretch, 9 and 79. Here we go. Into turn 12. Manythings found the brake pedal. This, of course, the battle going on for second. 6 seconds behind Ben, and we're not even done with the second lap of the Grand Prix. And here comes Foursquare still trying to work on Manythings. Manythings going wide now. Foursquare up to second. Ben, a faster lap this time, a 1:51.731. Invader into the pit lane. That must have been a nice incident. And Invader going to go ahead and replace the front nose. Somebody go ahead and keep count on how many front wings are replaced today. It's the second in 2 laps.
Now it's time to do F in chat for front wings.
So Volcanic just staying out of trouble. Already now in his second start, up to the 4th position. Now how long will he be able to hold on to it? That'll be another thing. But for now, it's to start the Grand Prix after his extracurriculars at the end of qualifying, able to get up to the 4th position. Must be a nice feeling. Kind of able to make up for it a little bit. Invader and Markle. Now, Invader came out in front of Markle. Now, they're going to go toe-to-toe here. This is the battle for last place, by the way, between Invader and Markle. It's not something I thought I would say this season. So Markle up the right side now, trying to clear, and they make contact! And Ben sets a faster lap, a 1:51.723. Invader came a little close to touching the right side wheels of Markle's car. Looks like it was...
It did touch me, what do you mean? You came close.
I said y'all made contact!
Oh, we did. I didn't get a warning though. I stayed straight. Oh no, you did. You hit me. My car almost went around. Yeah.
Markle sets the fastest lap, a 151.240 in the treacherous conditions here at Circuit of the Americas. Foursquare, 7.5 seconds back of Ben. Has about a second advantage over many things. We don't necessarily think of rain being the great equalizer, but it sure seems to be here today on a soggy Austin day. Has already claimed 2 front wings to its name. And it's still looking for more to work lap number 4. Ben through the final corner. We'll start the 5th lap. 7.8 seconds. 8 seconds out in front now of Foursquare. Again, DRS not a factor here, but Foursquare trying to break the slipstream between himself and many things. Dan not making as many indents as I thought he would on Volcanic. And Markle keeping Invader at bay, but not really gaining on Invader. This looks to be a pretty stout battle for the 6th position.
I mean, it's 19.3. We got a while till then. I had 2 fastest sectors that time, but the middle sector was ass for me.
So Foursquare in the past lap has gained a 1.5 seconds on Ben. Ben must have made a mistake somewhere. Maybe stepped a little over.
Yeah, I saw you lost like a shit ton right there.
And now Marco opening up the gap to Invader. 17 seconds between Dan and Markle.
Wait, 17 I gained? Oh,
Volcanic loses time to the leader, but does not lose time to the driver behind. The intervals between each other.
Car don't turn to that turn.
Approaching the 1/4 mark of the United States Grand Prix. Ben kind of just coasting around here. Markle sets a faster lap, now a 1:50.853. There's a caution in sector 1 and 2. That's Dan going around. And the battle for 5th just got spicy. As Dan's still trying to get up to speed. And the gap now 2 seconds between 5th place Dan and 6th place Markle. Almost uncharacteristic to say those 2 names in those 2 positions. Not really uncharacteristic for Dan this season, but last season would be a whole different story. And though it wasn't intentional, it looks almost as if the liveries between Markle and Dan are opposites of each other more than Dan and Ben. Here comes Markle up the right side. Dan gives him space, and literally all the space in the world, and then some. Dan gives Markle. Get a nice overhead view on how Markle takes the circuit. He found his way around Dan. And now Volcanic better pick up the pace. I mean, he does have a 19-second gap to the car behind him, but Markle definitely will be able to outpace Volcanic in 21 laps. So the top three equidistant from each other, 6 seconds apiece between first and second and third. Ben holds that 6-second lead. That was once 8 seconds. Foursquare looking for his second Grand Prix victory on the season. Is this the Grand Prix he can get it done? Invader goes by Dan for the 6th position. That was a pass on the circuit. And the rain proving treacherous still. Everybody able to keep it on the road for the most part now. A caution in Sector 3 as quick as I say that. Invader's gone around! And as quick as he takes 7th from Dan, is as quick as he's back in the 7th position. Going around to 20 laps remaining here in the United States Grand Prix. And there's a caution in sectors 1 and 2. And that's Invader going around again. From bad to worse for Invader. Oh, and he's sliding again, and he's gonna go around again! Oh, wow.
It's because his tires are overheated now.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic, but yeah, the tires are not used to all this stress and having to push water. I mean, that's what they're made to do, but they're not used to it. Let's see if Invader can ease his way back into a pace where he can try to stay on the lead lap here, because he is now 77.5 seconds off of Ben. Markle with the fastest lap, a 150.797 on the intermediate compound. Ben's picked it up to 7.5 seconds over Foursquare. Foursquare not really under attack from many things anymore. That gap is now to 9.25 seconds. Wow, the gap between Volcanic and Markle has definitely decreased. It is almost half the gap it once was. So Ben, right now, he has obviously more race to go than he has already completed. But right now in the prime position to get a 6th Grand Prix victory. Right now, would be gaining 15 points, 14 points on Markle. And the gap entering this race was 48. That means it would be a 34-point gap between the top two, which is still over an entire Grand Prix, but much more in sight. Though it wasn't the race Ben wanted thus far, and obviously, like I'm saying, it's lap 28, and Markle is destined to catch Volcanic. This is still a good step in the right direction with 7 Grand Prix remaining on the season. Now, if we can get this championship battle closer, who knows what the last Grand Prix of the season will bring. And just saying that, I'm sure Markle got Vietnam flashbacks.
Oh, Monaco, man. You know, I feel better on this game than the past couple games, so...
So a little bit up the road now from Markle is Volcanic. The gap 3 seconds between 4th and 5th place. Markle also, if he just wants to make it more known that he's eating into the gap, just sets the fastest lap again, a 1:50.686. Which is on board with Markle now. You can see how much he has to tiptoe the car through VS's. Here comes Markle, pressuring the rookie in his 2nd start. The championship leader. Markle's now looking for a way into the 4th position now. Sizing up Volcanic. Through turn 20 onto the start-finish straight. Markle Here he comes. He's gaining. Volcanic gives him the right side of the circuit. Up the hill they go, side by side. Markle trying to get it done around the outside. Volcanic able to hold on for the moment, but Markle gets the run on the exit. Downhill now. Markle with the preferred line. Through VS's. Volcanic goes wide, and he's going to give forfeit. Around he goes!
And it's stuck in, maybe? Yes.
The wet racetrack combined with the low grip on the outside of that corner just was a bad combination for Volcanic. And he'll give up the 4th position a lot easier than what he wanted to. Markle narrowly escaping another incident. So now Markle 15.5 seconds is his next goal. Many things. Can Markle get back onto the podium after his absurd start to this Grand Prix? What a story it would be, and what a heartbreak it'd be for Ben if Markle's able to gain any more points. Dan may have his shot at Volcanic in the coming future. The gap between the two. Volcanic holds 4.5 seconds over Dan. Down to 4 seconds already, just down to start finish straight. So, someone who's also played everything just about right just was the victim of a possible interference during qualifying. Is Foursquare right now sat second, 6.5 seconds back of Ben. And now I'm not sure, even if he was ahead of Ben at the start, would he be able to hold on to that position as Invader's gone around again.
Oh, poor Invader. Finish up strong, get the points.
The gap now down to 6.3 seconds up front. But, yeah, Foursquare trying to make the most of it. Almost saw his qualifying session to end early. And now many things into the pit lane. Looking to split this race a 13-15 lap stints. 13 laps on the first stint, 15 laps on the second stint. Looks like everybody else may be trying to just go a little bit more halfway. Obviously doesn't count for Markle and Ben Markle and Invader who've already made stops. They'll most likely just be splitting the rest of their stints in half as well. So let's see how many things fares on fresher intermediates Van Markle. And will he be able to open up a gap for when Markle eventually pits a second time for fresher intermediate tires? And when can we expect the rest of the grid in for fresh tires? Here comes race leader Ben, 6 seconds out in front of Foursquare. Ben into the pit lane. Here we go, looking for fresh intermediate tires. Foursquare, he will stay out and he will go to the race lead. There goes Foursquare to the race lead. Ben is down and away. He's not going to lose the second position. Here comes Markle into the pit lane. Now let's see what works better, the overcut from Many Things or the undercut from Markle. Many Things goes by, Markle down and away. We'll see the gap once Markle gets up to speed. Volcanic and Dan also into the pit lane. Volcanic down and away. Dan down and away. Now Volcanic is down and away. They'll be racing on the pit exit. It'll be a close race on the pit exit. The gap between Many Things and Markle about 10.5 seconds still. So, was there an advantage? Maybe one way or the other. But not noticeable enough to where it was largely in one's favor. Probably a little bit more in Markle's favor. And Foursquare into the pit lane. He will give the lead back to Ben. Let's see what the gap is on his way out. Now Ben onto the start-finish straight. Foursquare into his pit box.
I'll figure it out, I guess. I have no clue. Gotta be like 20 or something.
So Foursquare getting up to speed, and this time is more in favor of Ben on this battle. The gap 9.5 seconds. And Many Things with the fastest lap, a 1:50.522. If Many Things is going to get this podium, he needs to consistently run laps like that and stop Markle from gaining at the rate Markle was gaining prior to this pit stop. We could see a new face on the podium, as Many Things has a little scenic route through one of the S's. And just as quickly as he sets the fastest lap, Markle gains almost an entire second in a lap. And that's going to be those kinds of mistakes that cost Many Things the podium. Maybe trying too hard, maybe not trying hard enough, not sure what it was there. The gap 8.5 seconds now between third and fourth place. Dan right now on Volcanic, he goes to the outside. Side by side as they head into the hairpin. Dan goes wide, Volcanic up the inside. Ben sets the fastest lap of 1:49.492. Brother Dan goes around Volcanic for the 5th position. And Many Things a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So his task of holding on to the podium position just got even harder, because theoretically he only has a 4-second advantage over Markle now, and that's still dwindling. So Markle 5.7 seconds back and give him the advantage of 3 more seconds. The caution sectors 1 and 2. That is cleared. My guess is it was probably volcanic. Probably slid through one of the S's. The gap between Ben and Foursquare has kind of stabilized out at 9.5 seconds. Foursquare, by the way, sets the fastest lap at a 1:49.422, and now is closing the gap down to 9 seconds. 11 laps remaining here at Circuit of the Americas. So theoretically, Markle 2 seconds back of many things. He is actually 5 seconds back, but 3 seconds in his favor. And he's given up another second as many things. And it's now down to less than a second the advantage. 3.8 seconds the actual gap. Foursquare, another fastest lap, a 1:48.988 into the 1:48 brackets on a soggy Circuit of the Americas, and the gap now down to 8.3 seconds. Does Foursquare have something before this one's over? He does have fresher tires than Ben.
The Packers are about to go up 21-3.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything after the Texans were up 24-0.
About to go into halftime.
The Falcons had a 25-point lead. So now Markle is effectively in the third position. He has yet to pass many things, but is now down to 1.5 seconds, the physical gap between the third and fourth position drivers. Markle working his way on to the back straight. Many things actually had a better exit through turn 11. He was able to open up the gap to Markle to nearly 2 seconds. I think here's where Markle's ability will shine more on the technical sections. And Foursquare even faster, a 1:48.955. Nine laps remaining here. United States Grand Prix. The gap stabilized up front again. 8 seconds now to gap between the top two.
What? What? Yeah, hurry up, Ray.
Here comes Markle on many things. Markle, a huge lunge on the outside in the turn 12. Don't know if that was necessarily the move he wanted to make. Right on board with Markle as he's still sizing up and looking for a way around many things. Visibility nearing 0. This is the closer you get to a competitor. The spray of the water off the tires in front of you is heavy, and whoa, a little bit of a lag. And Markle's now got to be very smart about where he makes his overtake. He makes contact with many things. Many things goes off the circuit, but Markle may have wing damage. So Markle into the 3rd position. Is his wing going to be good enough to stay on front? Looks like he didn't actually get much damage to the front wing. We'll see what he determines this time by the pit lane, though. And there goes point leader Markle, showing why he is the point leader, even when he has an incident on the opening lap of the Grand Prix, still able to make it back to the podium with time to spare. Not enough time for him to gain on Foursquare. That is an insane interval, 31 seconds to try to gain in 6 laps. However, a podium, I'm sure he will not be disappointed about after the way he started this race. Should he be able to hold on to it?
So gutted right now.
Maybe you stay on the circuit next time.
Dang.
Wrecked.
Yeah, I got the penalty because there was standing water and I spun into the... yeah. Hi.
Hello.
They just stopped the clock even though Russell Wilson didn't spike it. He took a knee.
So Ben, 6 laps remaining in the United States Grand Prix. 9 seconds out in front of Foursquare. And at this point, it looks like it's all up to Ben on whether he wins or he doesn't. With the gaps between all these drivers, the safety car seems very unlikely. Not impossible, but very unlikely. Ben opening up the gap now to 10 seconds over Foursquare. It seems like Ben isn't content with just coasting to the end, as if there's still something to prove. Foursquare, unfortunately, coming up to his teammate to put him.
Yo, Emerson, guess what I just got an advertisement for?
What?
The XFL. Okay. February 8th, XFL season begins.
When is the Super Bowl? It's not. Or is it on the first?
All I know is that the XFL starts February 8th, and I just got an advertisement for it.
The Super Bowl is February 4th.
Okay, so the Super Bowl happens, and then they start the XFL.
And that's the point of the XFL. So with no gap under 10 seconds now between any of these drivers, we approach 4.5 minutes remaining. 4.5 laps remaining. This race being rain-filled, we're just thankful it didn't get to the point where it was torrential rain and the track started flooding. Similar to the 24 hours of Dubai happening this past weekend. They got through about 7 hours of racing. Actually, the final hour had about a couple safety cars as well. Or code 60 as they call it in sports cars. Code 60 for 60 kilometers an hour. Had a couple code 60s in the 6th hour, and they eventually stopped the race, and there's a caution in sector 3. There goes Invader for about the 6th time this race. So they were able to do about 7 hours of racing. They suspended the race in the 7th hour, and they called the race from then because as the rain continued, it started flooding the racing surface and the pit lane. It was unsafe to even have people in the area. They actually ended up suspending the race after 7 hours, and that's all they wrote.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. I feel like if something like that happens, they should be able to do something where they can restart the race later, but they won't.
And there's cautions in sectors 1 and 2. That would be Invader for the 7th time. That makes it even for the 7th position. I think Invader's just kind of had enough. He's just trying to make it to the end just to say he's finished, and I'd be pretty frustrated. I was in that spot. So Ben, coming around to 3 laps remaining here in the United States Grand Prix, in 11.25 second advantage over Foursquare. Foursquare has 29 seconds over Markle. No threat. for the podium drivers, as Markle has a 16-second advantage over Many Things. Many Things looks to be holding on to the 4th position here, and still one of his first starts here in the league. Volcanic right now sat in the 6th position in just his 2nd Grand Prix, one-ups his run last week. Invader, an abysmal race, went around 7 times and possibly counting. In the 7th position, 1 lap down already. Volcanic also 1 lap down.
Only for the performers.
2.5 laps remaining. Ben now works down the back straightaway here at Circuit of the Americas, opening up to 12 seconds over Foursquare. Markle must have made a mistake because he's now down to... Oh, never mind. That is the same gap. But he is 40 seconds behind Ben. Many Things 58 seconds behind Ben, and Dan 75 seconds behind Ben. So Ben looking to take over the lead on how many most wins in the season, and if he's not able to close the deal in the 7 Grand Prix, it would be the 2nd time in 3 seasons where Ben would have the most wins on the season without the title. Now there's still a lot of racing to go this season, and it's still very doable. He will be gaining at least 9 points on Markle, or maybe 10, I believe. Actually, Foursquare is the fastest lap, bringing the gap down to 38 points, which is about a full race and a half. Still doable, just looks less unlikely as time runs out on the season. 1.5 laps to go. Markle, now he's going for the fastest lap. He pits for a set of inters.
Ding dong. What? Stuff who's? Oh.
Markle down and away. He's got to make sure he doesn't spin now and give up the 3rd position to Many Things. But Markle down and away. Many Things turns with a full head of steam. Does Many Things have what it takes on 13-lap old tires? 13-lap older tires than Markle.
I'm not racing in F1.
Big and talking to you.
Many Things off the circuit once again.
No. 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 You ain't gonna do shit, sniper.
Here comes Ben to start
You can't
the
do
final
shit.
lap of the United States Grand Prix. Here we go. Hearing a 13-second advantage over Foursquare.
I don't. Why have my headset around my neck? You would just be like shoving it into my neck.
Markle trying to go for the fastest lap. He will have 1 full attempt at the fastest lap.
It'd just be poking on my neck and be just, what the fuck is this bug doing here? Get the bug spray. Just spray that shit with some bug spray.
So here comes Markle. He's going to start his attempt for the fastest lap, trying to only lose 9 points today. He'll start that attempt as Ben works his way down to turn 12. He's just got to navigate 8 more corners to win his 6th Grand Prix on the season.
Fucked it. Way too loose.
There's a caution in sectors 1 and 2. That's many things, maybe trying too hard, and he may give up the 4th position before 2. I'm gonna 3-second time penalty for Markle.
Wow.
If only many
Same
things
way I've been taking that turn.
wasn't messing around, and Markle will not get the fastest lap. Many things knows now if he wasn't trying so hard, he might have been able to. Well, no, it would have been the same with the gap, but Ben takes the race victory here in Austin, Texas, his 6th Grand Prix victory of the season. Here comes Foursquare for yet another podium, another 2nd place finish. Very consistent this season for Foursquare. After nearly ending his qualifying session early, Markle cutting corners on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Volcanic comes home 1 lap down in the 6th position. Invader 1 lap down in the 7th position. Later tonight at 10, we'll have Markle finishing in the 3rd position. He did get the fastest lap. It's a 1:48.476.
Emerson, are we gonna do any like interviews or anything after this?
Here, Many Things, a 3-second time penalty again, and he makes contact, and around goes Many Things. Made contact with Dan on the final lap, coming to the final corner of the Grand Prix. Dan comes home 4th. Many Things is trying hard to hold on to the 4th position. Here comes Many Things to finish 5th. And I'll have to go to video evidence. I'll watch Markle's final lap to see what kind of a cut he made.
Because if it's anything like, I don't know how Dan got the one out of Germany.
I crashed at the S's.
We know.
Okay. I like how your legs. Badly.
And so, Ben with the victory here in Austin, Texas.
Are you sure? For how bad you're lagging, I cannot understand you at all.
His 6th Grand Prix victory on the season. Foursquare 2nd, Markle 3rd. Dan comes on 4th, Many Things 5th on a last lap pass for the 4th position. Volcanic Invader finishing 1 lap down. However, everybody did finish the Grand Prix. Very treacherous conditions, but they were able to get it done here in Austin. Now we're joined by 3rd place finisher Markle. Let's see, it wasn't your race from the start. What happened on lap 1?
Got loose in the S's. That's what happened.
That's what I suspected. I thought maybe you hit a curb or something.
Probably.
Talk about your drive through the field to the 3rd position throughout the race. It was intense.
It was fun. Still hate the rain though.
Here at the end, you were able to get into the 3rd position, and then you came into pit to try to go for the fastest lap to minimize point loss. What happened during the final lap? You got a corner cutting
That's
penalty.
Up to you. If you give me no point, it's the same way I took that turn the whole time.
I'd have to go back and see it and compare it to other laps then, I guess. But overall, what would you take away from this day?
Yeah, lap 1. Finished
I guess that's all you have to say, but yeah. Congratulations on the podium finish. Congratulations on the 3rd place finish.
What did you say, Mel?
Got a 39.
The fastest lap because I cut.
Maybe 38
somewhat
points.
cut a corner is what the game would have said, but I took that corner the same way every lap, and it never.
Heading
gave me
into the
penalties
next
for
Grand
last lap.
Prix.
Well,
We're joined.
I got 3 warnings the whole race in different spots. Just not that spot. I don't know if it counts 3 warnings overall or just like 3 in one spot.
If all 4 of your tires were off the surface, I probably couldn't give it to you, but I have to also see.
It's on stream.
I'll go back there. It's 1 point, but
either way, he gained points.
Well, it'd be Foursquare who'd get the point, but.
What did you say, Mel?
He ran them all race.
Once or twice.
Oh.
Yeah, like besides this race, I think once or twice.
So we're joined by our second place finisher, Foursquare. It was a kind of day where you just kind of worry about your own race, and ended off doing you well. You kind of finished the first lap, and second you kind of finished second. Talk about the first lap mayhem and kind of what happened the rest of the race.
Yeah, definitely the rain made for a dicey start, so that was the first goal, to survive the first lap, and then the second lap, and then the third lap, and then after that, just kind of try to follow their groove.
Man, middle linebackers.
And yeah, kind of was by myself after the first few laps. It was a good little battle with many things, but after that, pretty much on my own.
There was a lot of times, lap after lap, where you'd run the fastest lap. Did you think you had anything for Ben?
Yeah, that was a pretty big gap. I would have needed a mistake, I think, to catch that. So I was just trying to know when to push and when to hold back, and I knew I had 3 good laps on those tires, so I gave it all those 3, and then just tried to save it the rest of the race.
Did you think you had a faster car than Ben?
I'd give that to the fresher tires. I don't know about that. He pulled away there at the end, definitely.
Alright. Well, congratulations on the second place finish. A very clean race, a very smart race from you. I think a very deserving result for what this race was. And we're joined by our race winner, 6th time on the season. Ben, how does it feel?
I had to leave the franchise to join you.
It's okay.
Do you want to stream or do you want to just share play with someone? I don't feel like streaming. I fucking hate the S's, man.
Looks like it was a wild one behind you. About the race itself, it was kind of in your hands all day long. Were you worried about anyone else maybe getting in the way of a win here, or after lap 1 was it yours?
No.
Well, now the gap is down to under 40 points, so about a race and a half. Are you geared to make a run in the next 6 Grand Prix? 7 Grand Prix, actually. I guess that's all we can ask for. That would be something.
Yeah, but Monaco is still not good.
I like Monaco.
7.
This is race 14 of 21.
Even if I finish second every weekend you want, you'd be fine.
Yeah, there's 7 Grand Prix remaining. That is correct. You would get Yeah, you would have a 4-point advantage at the end of. Well, you extended your lead atop the F1 all-time wins list table, and you'll do it with another one here tonight. Congratulations on the 6th Grand Prix win of the season. I believe your 16th career F1 Grand Prix victory in EWRL. Yeah. Nice Elvis Presley kind of outro there. Alright, and that'll do it here for Austin, Texas. It was a nice soggy Austin day for these drivers taking to Circuit of the Americas. Next week will be a much better Grand Prix because we're going to France. Circuit Paul Ricard has definitely been a fun one. It's been a fun track, and these drivers are going to have a great time. I'm sure they cannot wait to get their hands on still a relatively new circuit to the F1 calendar, and it'll be the first time EWRL hosts a race at Circuit Paul Ricard. So, we'll see. Richard. Paul Ricard.
Yeah, I actually like that track. The track's fun.
But we'll see what that track gives us next week.
Yeah, as long as it's not raining.
We will see you then.